Let's go ahead and create a music playing screen. I want to grab all the content that we have thus far and just put it in one folder so we can hide it away. And I'm going to do that by going to Layer, New Group from these layers that I selected, and I selected every single layer. And we'll call this Designs. Alright, and we're just simply going to hide this layer. Now, I want to create a Now Playing page. And we can do that pretty easily. Let's just start by creating a black background. Excuse me. I'm going to grab the the rectangle tool, and with the black as the foreground, I'm just going to grab everything. Now, I want to create the main box where the album image will go. So let's just let's stay on our rectangle tool, and let's just drag this out. I want to make sure that I have white as the foreground color though. Let's just drag this out as a square. Alright. Make sure it's pretty even and it's an exact square. Okay, that looks pretty good. So you'll notice, and this is something that I tend to do a lot and have to go back, I'm going to hit Control or Command Z to undo. We need to create a new layer before we draw this shape, I'm sorry. And let's call it album. There we go. Now it'll apply that stroke that we want, and we can, while holding Shift, drag down. And there we go. That looks a little bit better. Now I'm going to use my text tool and create a name for this. Let's make this big. Let's try 54. That's about right. And I'm going to make sure that this is centered. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit so we can see better. Cool. And let's go ahead and duplicate song. And I'm just going to drag it down. And let's edit this now. So I'm going to double click song, and I want to make this a lot smaller. Let's go down to 34. Yeah, we'll go down to 34, and I'm going to call this the, oops, I'll do 34, and let's call this the band. And I actually might want to go a little bit smaller. I'm going to go down all the way down to 24 pixels. Perfect. And I'm going to duplicate this layer now, and let's name the album. And I'm going to drag it down, make sure it's spaced evenly. The band needs to come down just a bit, and let's drag this down just a bit. Alrighty, and let's go ahead and just change this. Awesome album. And I want to change this color so we can distinguish the difference between everything. We'll just give it a really light gray. And let's go ahead and drag it up just a tad. Cool, now let's make our music player. First thing we need to draw, and we can just draw a triangle, is going to be a play button. So let's zoom in really quickly. And I just want to draw a triangle for our play button. So let's create a new layer, call it play. And this will be simple. Let's just use our pen tool, and we will mark one, and then make sure you're holding Shift as we mark a second. I'm going to use my guide to sort of find the center of this. There we go. And now we can just come up here, select right on this guide, and we'll come back here and close it out, and right click and make selection, feather radius of 0, click OK, and let's just fill this play button in as white. There we go. Let's hit Control D. There, now we have our play button. Now a cool way we can do our rewind and fast forward, let's duplicate this play button and drag it to the right. Now we need to make 2 of these, and it also needs to be smaller. So I'm going to, while holding Shift, grab the corner and just drag this in and make it a bit smaller. And let's go down to a height of 20 pixels. And I'm going to just apply that. And now I can drag this back down a little bit so it's lined up, and all we have to do is duplicate it, drag that one to the right, make sure it's touching the edge, and there we go. Now we have our fast forward. Let's go ahead and put these two in a group, And let's go new group from layers, and we'll call it forward. And let's duplicate forward so we can make our backwards or our rewind. And we're just going to drag these out to the left, and let's grab this center right side, and we're just going to drag it out to the left. Doesn't matter how far we go because we know we can come up to our width and change it to -100%. And we now have rewind, and that's perfect. So let's drag this back just a little bit, make sure it's somewhat even, and that looks pretty good. I want to create a like a bar that shows like how far into the song we are. So let's grab our rounded rectangle tool, and let's create a radius of 100, and we're just going to drag this all the way down, and I need to figure out which color, and I want to do like a really light gray. That looks good to me, so make sure your foreground color is set to a light gray. Let's just drag this down, and we're going to make sure that we keep it pretty thin. Alrighty, and 8 pixels in height. Let's try 9 pixels. Might as well make it even 10 pixels in height. Alright, now we have this gray bar. We can add a little circle to show where we are in the song, and we're just going to use our ellipse tool, and we've done this several times. Let's draw a circle. I'm going to go back, I'm going to create a new layer before I do it, and I'm going to call it circle. And let's just drag this out. Perfect, and I'm going to make this white. Let's give it a color overlay of white. There we go. And let's just drag this down a bit. Alright, that looks good to me. Now we need to change the color on the left side of this button so we know that we have been viewed this much. And let's just change that to a green. And I want to do that by zooming in a lot further, and let's make sure we have our rounded rectangle selected, our layer. Let's zoom in, and let's use our rectangular marquee tool, and let's drag it right over here. And then we're going to use our paint bucket tool and make sure the foreground color is selected to some sort of green, and a darker, that looks pretty good. Let's go more like minty, and that's fine for now. Let's just see what it looks like. And then we need to go to layer, rasterize, and let's rasterize this shape and go ahead and fill it. And there's definitely different ways to do what I just did, but we're just looking for a quick way to do it just because I want to show y'all how easy it is to create elements you see all over different applications. So let's just zoom out real quick. We need to add a bit of text here. Let's just grab our text tool, create some times. Let's do 3 minutes and 10 seconds, and I'm just going to change this to white. So let's overlay color to white, and we need to make that a lot smaller. So let's change the size to 14. Cool, that looks good. I'm just going to put it right under here, and I'm going to duplicate it by hitting Control or Command J, and let's just drag it all the way. Whoops. Let's just drag our new text up. Here it is. I'm sorry. We'll just drag this to the right by holding Shift. I apologize, guys. I am not, for some reason, selecting it. 310 copy, make sure that layer is selected, and don't apply, and let's just drag it to the left. There we go. I don't know why that was so difficult. Okay, and let's just change this number to like, minus 58 seconds. So that's how many seconds are left in the song. Okay, let's go ahead and zoom out. Pretty cool. Let's just go Google an album real quick. And I'm going to Google album cover. Sure, we'll grab, this Adele one. I'm just going to, of course it's not going to let me. So let's grab this one. There we go. And I'm going to select cover image, and I'm just going to copy it, create a new file, and let's go ahead and paste this. Now instead of dragging it in, I'm going to create a smart object of this, the album. So let's right click and convert to smart object. There we go. And we're just going to double click this and open it up, and we're going to drag our Christina Aguilera album in here, and let's just make sure it fits. And let's grab our move tool, shrink this up a little bit, make sure it fits. Doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, these are just kind of speed tutorials to show you guys how to do things and how easily it will eventually come to you. So we have an album now. Let's just go ahead and save this and look at our album. So there, that's pretty cool. We just built like a song player, and it didn't take us very long. Imagine what we could do if we were taking our time and making absolutely, every element absolutely perfect, lining everything up. But like I said, and I'm going to say it again, we're just doing this for practice. We're doing this to see how easy it can be to create just about anything.